Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pulse of Spokane. Today, we're going to have Kent Adams talking about the state of the free market, and then we'll get into some of my interviews. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Well, welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Kent Adams here, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today, the state of the free market, with a couple of gentlemen here. And it's so important, and we've had so many negative things about this program works, that program works, but it's really the state of the free market that works for all of us. We'll be right back.
We are slowly coming out of a great uncertainty. How long can we sustain government spending? And how has government increased regulation affected the free market? Join ABC, Spokane Home Builders, and Star Financial. Host a breakfast panel, State of the Free Market. 3 Washington Policy Center experts to share the most accurate accounting of what is happening with the free market in Washington State. Get your tickets today. SpokaneFreeMarket.com. Paid for by Spokane GOP.
I've got some great guests in here, and I'm meeting Bill for the first time. Bill,
Sure.
right? And
Sure.
you're with?
Associated Builders and Contractors.
All right. We're going to talk about that today as well as in the future. You're going to come back, right?
Absolutely.
And then we've got Brian Steele, and I know what you do. You cause trouble.
Yeah, that's right. But I try to cause trouble in the right direction.
The right direction is
right
true.
direction.
What is your title?
I am the chair of the Spokane County Republican Party.
Right. And Joel, I've known you for a while.
Yes, we have.
Yes. And one of us is getting old and the other isn't, okay? With the Spokane Home Builders.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Right.
Been there for
How are
16
things
years.
going?
Well, we're not keeping up with the demand, and of
No.
course, the price of government regulation is part of the problem.
You know, that is so true. Because you look at, we're not building condos anymore,
No.
for the most part.
No.
We're building a lot of apartments, but way behind and I've heard things like $38,000 more to build a house today, and that's probably low.
Yeah.
Those are old numbers. I mean, what's going on? What's going on, honestly, and you're going to agree, I think, with this, is too much regulation, both locally, statewide, and nationally, but not as much we can do nationally. But there's something really important coming up on Friday, the 20th, and there are a few tickets left. Brian, I'm going to turn to you because you kind of are leading the charge, although all 3 of you involved. What is going on?
What we decided some months ago that all the things that Joel and Bill are talking about need to become highlighted in the community so people can be aware of it and understand why some of the problems we're feeling and seeing and having to live through are actually happening. And you just said it properly. Government regulation, government overreach, even a lot of the cancel culture activities that go on inhibit the free flow of the economy and making things work for us. We believe in a free market and that it does and has provided the best solution.
And everybody benefits. It's not just the builder
Right.
or the owner and so forth. In fact, I know of and you may know who he is, as someone who's owned low-income housing who just is throwing in and selling, giving up, okay? And we're starting to hear those stories. Those are homes that probably will be fixed up and sold for much higher than the people have been in them now, okay? And that's hard on people who are fighting the rent battle right now, and it's a challenge, but it really stems back from our not doing what we want to do in the community when the builders were willing to build and all that goes on there. From your point of view, how is this affecting your builders? Because you work with
Yeah, with Associated Builders and Contractors, we represent, and work with commercial contractors of all sizes. And the constant complaint is we don't even know what laws to follow anymore because there's so many new laws coming out.
Yeah.
We can't keep up. I'm a lawyer by trade, and even I can't.
Oh, I'm
keep up
sorry.
with everything. I know, I know. So these poor business owners are out there. They're trying to comply. They're trying to do what they can, but they're just getting bombarded every single day with state and local regulations that they just can't keep up with.
Yeah.
And anytime that a regulation comes out, it always affects cost.
Yes.
It always affects costs, and these regulations are being thought up of and dreamed up of by people that have never held a hammer in their hand before.
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating for our folks, and they just are trying to keep up with those costs. And ultimately they have to pass that cost on to the consumer because they're not out there to build these buildings for free or
Right,
for a loss.
right. Well, and their costs, I mean, I talked to one builder, in fact, I think when you guys were in up at our other studio, who said, you know, the contract I have and I'm finishing it up in the next few months, and my cost of lumber alone, and this is a year, more than a year ago, has gone up 10 or 15,000. There goes my income. I mean, it's not like the builders are profiting from this. Actually, who's profiting, unfortunately, are some of our elected officials. I think of the Spokane City Council. We've got a left wing who care more about the air in the Soviet Union or somewhere else across the world and climate change than about people here in our own community. It's time for them to focus on our own community and help folks. From builders, you work with builders too.
Oh, yeah, a few builders, yeah.
Yeah, a few. You hear it daily, don't you?
Yeah, trying to keep up with the demand has been difficult. We've got a lot of influx of new, people moving in the area, and they are driving up the price of the housing. But it's also the cost of regulation. Going back to the cost of house, people don't realize 25%, nearly a quarter of the cost of house is actually due to government regulation.
Oh, gee.
So a quarter. I mean, we're talking. So when you look at a $400,000 house, $100,000 that house is just purely, and that's from the land entitlement, the development stage, through the construction of the home. And we're a heavily regulated industry. I know Bill is industry as well, and people don't understand that. So when they think about all those builders making a ton of money, well, in the downturn, we had people actually losing money because of the cost of material increases. We're dealing with labor, lumber, and the land cost all come together, and so it becomes a daily burden. Plus, they're dealing with all the regular business costs and all the others, taxation and all the regulatory burden that every business faces. And it's just, as a small business person, it's hard to keep up with the demand.
Yeah, what gets me, honestly, is that we've got some leadership from Spokane, and they go to the west side and cave into the wet side of the state and the liberals over there. I want to get back. So we know where the problem is. We all agree on it. It's regulation, really, when it comes down to it. And that's what's caused the shortage and so forth. My honest hope is that we don't get into a position where all the people that want to move here bring some of the regulations from Seattle and some of the other places that have seen an exodus of folks. Let's get back to what's really our focus today, and that's next Friday. Tell me about who's going to be there and what's going to be talked about. And you've got the cheat sheet in front of you.
I brought a cheat sheet.
Yes.
I did. So let me just share that with you. We've got 3 great panelists coming from the Washington Policy Center. They specialize in research on the free market. But they have different areas there. We've got Mark Harmsworth, small business.
Yes.
We know small business is the backbone of
It's the heart and soul of our community.
Economy,
Absolutely.
and particularly Spokane.
Yes.
It is huge in small business. So he's going to talk about that, what's happened to it, what regulation has done to it, what some of the crackdowns over the last 2 years have done, how free market can provide solutions to getting that going better again. Elizabeth Hovde, healthcare. You might think, what's that have to do? She's looking at, that's a really regulated industry. And again, costs in that industry, up to half.
We all pay for it. Right?
Up to half
we all do.
by regulation. And she's going to talk about what free market solutions in that industry could do to solve some of that problem. Then we got Todd Myers, Environmental Research Director. Here's the thing. Nobody wants to mess up their own backyard.
Right. No.
The idea that these gentlemen in their businesses or any other business want to trash this community.
We live here.
Yeah, it's not true.
Yeah.
And in fact, the United States is better than any other country in reaching its environmental goals, even though our last president took us out of some of those accords that weren't very helpful. And I don't think that message is getting out either, how good we are at it. And the free market, again, even in that area, has provided more actual concrete solutions. I was just listening to a farmer the other day. He said, new tractors use 1/8 of the gas or diesel that they used to. We don't know that. People aren't aware of it. They don't know of all the advances
Well,
we've
some on the
made.
left don't want to hear that.
No.
But, you know,
So-
I mean, honestly, that's part of the problem.
These people are going to give us some solutions to that. Plus, we've got a primary season coming up, right?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
You're going to have a couple people there that count.
We've got right now, I think, 18 people who have filed to run
Wow.
in the primary. We're going to give each of them 60 seconds to introduce themselves and talk about what's important to them
Brian,
to this
I'm sorry.
community.
A political candidate cannot do anything in 60 seconds.
I know,
I'm
but
kidding.
we've got to set a limit,
Yeah,
and
no,
at
you
least
do.
we can start getting them off stage in 1 minute, right?
Get the hood.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that'll be interesting to see how well we
Yeah.
do there.
Yeah.
But we're excited about that to introduce.
Who's
people,
coming?
Of the candidates?
Well, no,
Oh.
who's speaking?
The other speakers we
Yeah.
have some political speakers also.
Yes.
We've got Kathy McMorris Rogers.
I've heard of her.
That is coming, and I'll tell you, she is doing a great job.
Yes.
If you aren't aware of it, get on our newsletter and our email list, because I get something every week from her now
Yeah.
about what she's fighting for us back in
Yes.
Washington, D.C. Nadine Woodward will be one
good,
of our
good,
speakers.
yes.
And she's going to talk about not trashing our own backyard. She's working real hard to fix some of our
It's
problems.
an uphill battle based on the council that she has.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the last initiative she put forward, the council actually was in favor of it until she decided to make it happen, and then just for politics' sakes, they backed off and said,
Why
we can't
am I
support
not
it.
surprised?
Okay.
Okay.
And then Jonathan Bingle, who's
Oh,
a new
good.
up-and-coming politician
Yes.
in the area, and we've seen is not afraid at
Yeah.
all to jump in the fray and take on tough stuff.
Good people.
Yeah.
And I love the Craig Cardle's Chris. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Washington Post.
Washington Policy.
said.
Yes. Yep.
I only know Chris and saw him the other day at the Davenport, you know, but it's like you can't think of it sometimes. We used to have him on all the time, and in fact, he still comes on every so often, and really good, unbiased truth of what's going on. And I know a lot of liberals won't look at it because they don't like seeing the real world out there. And let's deal with really what's going on. You're near capacity already for next Friday.
We're very close.
Okay.
So if you're
Okay,
interested,
so how do people sign up?
they go to SpokaneGOP.com.
Okay. That's so hard to remember.
Well, let me say it again, SpokaneGOP.com.
Even at my age, I can remember that.
And
Quit laughing over here.
It's
I've
the-
known you too long. You're
it's right
laughing
on the
at-
first
he's
page of the
laughing at me.
website. They won't
Yeah.
have a hard time finding it.
Okay. What's the cost?
It's $45.
That's good.
This is an event that we wanted to make available to anyone that
Anyone.
was interested.
Yes.
So it's not hugely expensive.
Great, great. Thank you, gentlemen, for all that you're doing for our free enterprise system and for building. And we'll get this done. It's going to take a while,
Yes.
but we're going to get this done. And we're just going to roll over those that are the naysayers because it's best for our community. You all love our community. I know that. So thank you for what you're doing, okay? And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Pulse of Spokane.
Hello, I'm Parker with Hope Neighborhood Coffee Roaster. Hope is a student-led professional coffee production here at the Hunt Settlement. To promote cultural awareness through country of origin studies with coffee farmers worldwide. And third, provide a sustainable funding for the Hunt Settlement education program.
Hi, my name is Roxanne. Please join us to nurture and educate Hutton youth by becoming a monthly coffee subscriber. You can visit us by going to www.huttonsettlement.org and click on the About Us page. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Parker with Hope Neighborhood Coffee Roasters. Hope is a student-led professional coffee production here at the Hutton Settlement. To promote cultural awareness through country of origin studies with coffee farmers worldwide. And third, provide a sustainable funding for the Hutton Settlement education program.
Hi, my name is Roxanne. Please join us to nurture and educate Hutton youth by becoming a monthly coffee subscriber. You can visit us by going to www.huttonsettlement.org and click on the About Us page. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pulse of Spokane. Today, I'm with Travis from a new restaurant here in town called Chowderhead. So, Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And so, let's just get started with it. You guys opened up, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
right?
2 months ago on March 7th was our first day. Yeah.
And how's it been going since?
It's been going great. I've learned a lot in the last 2 months. I mean, it's just been something that's like required my constant attention, but the response that I've gotten from the public and like the surrounding area has been incredible. Word of mouth is huge. You know, people are talking about it.
Especially in Spokane.
Especially
with the small
in
business
Spokane.
community.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
So like, I mean, I'm really proud of everything that's going on and how well it's gone so far. I mean, like I couldn't be happier with
Now,
it.
previously, you also were a chef, correct?
Yeah, and I've worked at a couple places around town. I worked at Wild Sage. I was a baker and like dessert guy there for a year or
Right.
2 or something. And then I worked at Iron Goat Brewery for about 4 or 5 years. And then I worked for Tony Brown for roughly 6 months until he decided that he was going to sort of downsize his operation. And that's sort of how I was approached with taking over that space and, you know, becoming a restaurateur, as they say, you know, like it was,
Right.
yeah. And so I was totally in the right place at the right time. I worked for Tony when that property was Mick Ruins, and I turned it into Chowderhead, and now that's my restaurant.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. And so what kinds of food do you guys do? Deli meats, I think, was one of them. Sandwiches.
Yeah, so I have one cold sandwich on, and that's the turkey pesto that you're probably referring to. But we have a soup menu that's got 4 soups on it, sometimes 5. If I feel like we need to throw an extra one on there, like a broth or whatever, a broth soup. And I've got a small breakfast menu that's got 4 items on it. I've got a sandwich menu that's got 6 or 7 sandwiches, and then I've got a salad menu that has 4 or 5 large entree-sized salads with accompanying sides and sauces and all that stuff. So the menu is somewhat limited, but all very well executed, all very well thought out, and like definitely chef-driven and just very well done.
And how would you compare the experience of being your own chef owning your own business to working opposed to another chef underneath?
Well, the best example that I could like put plainly is that when you're working for somebody else and somebody comes in like 5 minutes before you're supposed to close, that's usually kind of looked down upon. Like if you're a line cook, it's like, oh dang it, like we're almost done and now people are coming in, and like
another
now that I own the place, I'm just like, yes, like come in 30 seconds before we close. Like I mean, you gain this perspective that is completely different than when you're working for someone else. You just really want to try to do all you can to do a good job and to make your money,
To satisfy
and
the customer.
exactly,
Yeah.
and also leave an impression on those people so that they'll come
Exactly.
back.
And one of the greatest things that we just talked about was the word of mouth here in Spokane and how that has had an impact on your business too. Because usually when you start a business, you have those startup, you could call it issues, problems, paying your employees, trying to make sure that they get it on time, and the consumer, like getting the right amount of customers and stuff. But you haven't had any of that at all.
No, right out of the gate, it's been pretty busy. In fact, we budgeted to do to have an advertising, to have some advertising or whatever, and
Right.
And I've totally put that on hold.
Just because you've been so busy,
we're
you
full.
wouldn't need it.
Yeah, we're full.
It.
Like, what more can we advertise for when people are waiting to sit down and waiting 30 or 40 minutes sometimes for a table to open up?
So if I wanted to go in, when is the best time for you guys
The
right
best
now?
time to go in is early afternoon.
Okay.
The lunch rush between like 11 and 1 is always very busy. It seems like it doesn't matter what day it is. Even Monday is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, weekdays, early afternoon is the best time because people get in, they get their lunch, they go back to work, and then all of a sudden, our tiny little restaurant is cleared out, and it's so funny how it happens. Like they all show up, they all leave, like almost simultaneously.
Yeah. I used to work at A&W for about 9 or 10 months.
Yeah.
And our lunch rushes on Saturdays, oh my goodness, we would have lines all the way out and across the mall.
Yeah.
It was just so busy.
It seems like it's a lot more drawn out on Saturdays too. Like we don't have that definitive like 11 to 1 or 11 to 2 kind
Right.
of thing. It's like this slow burn like all day. Like you're just steady cooking all day long. And so Saturdays are a little bit different. They're definitely our busiest day. But yeah, I mean if you get in like before the lunch rush or like directly after it, that's like the prime time, I would say.
Perfect. Because
Yeah.
I plan on going down in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, come on in, man.
Yeah, fantastic. And so with this recent success, do you guys expect to continue to just stay this busy throughout the rest of the year? Or do you think different time periods will have different customer volumes? Like, for example, Hoop Fest.
I mean, if I had like a crystal ball and I could look 2 or 3 months into the future, I would really, really like that because I've got this. For some reason, I think that when it gets really hot out and it's it's June or July, like Hoop Fest, like you said, like there's a ton of people. Like, I really hope that business doesn't decline just because everybody thinks we're a soup place or whatever. But
Don't worry about that.
I'm really hoping that we've gained enough traction in the first 3 months of business that they know that we have salads and we have
You're
sandwiches
just more
and
than
we
a
have
soup place. You have a wide variety. on your
exactly,
menu.
and that we're not just a soup place and that we have things that that could carry us through those hot months. If not, I've thought of doing like a burrito menu or putting on a broth soup menu that's kind of not as heavy as the chowders that we run or so we've been doing burgers Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We do a burger, like a smash burger special. So like I have these ideas of like things that I can try and do if that does happen.
Right,
But
yeah,
like
if
I'm
it's
really
popular.
hoping that it doesn't but if it does, I'm prepared for that.
That's good.
Yeah.
With obviously having a new business and especially a restaurant, I think you've really placed it at the right time because we're coming out of the COVID pandemic. People are starting to go back to eat at sit-down restaurants or just food in general. And I think, just opening Chowderhead like right after that Omicron variant, I think perfect timing on your end.
Yeah, and that was one of those things that like I was telling you before we started chatting that I mean it's just something that I could not have planned. it was one of those things that totally just worked out. I think maybe 5 days after we opened, the indoor mask mandate was lifted, and there was just this collective sigh of people that were like, "Oh, finally, it's somewhat over or whatever." And I think people like you said, are a little more comfortable going out and sitting in a restaurant that's as compact as ours is, because
We're finally free.
Yeah. But man, we get 40 people in there. It's kind of tight,
Okay.
It's a tiny little restaurant.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I got to ask, being a chef, being a restaurant owner, without picking yours, what would you say your favorite restaurant here in Spokane is?
Probably, I really like Wooden City. I've been to Wooden City probably a dozen times, and every time I've been there, they just knock it out of the park. Their service is excellent. Their food's really good. The restaurant's super clean. They have really good drinks. And I just can't say enough good things about Wooden City. Plus, I know their chef Peyton. He's my buddy. He's a super good dude, and he comes and supports Chowderhead as well.
That's awesome.
So I love Wooden City. I also really like Park Lodge on the west end of Kendall Yards. Super nice restaurant. Their patio is probably one of my favorite in Spokane. If you go there during the summer, probably about 7:30 when the sun's setting, you're right kind of on the river, and it's way down there. You're kind of up on this balcony, but it's incredible. It's like one of the best places to have
Great
dinner.
weather, and you're able
it's
to sit out there
it's
and
awesome.
enjoy it. So go check out Chowderhead, which is located at
825 North Monroe Street, right by the courthouse.
Alrighty. Well, Travis, thank you so much for coming on to the Pulse of Spokane today.
What? That was it? That's awesome.
I know, yeah, it's pretty short, right?
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
I know.
I put an hour and a half on my meter. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm signing up for.
Well, maybe I should have told you prior
It's all
to
good.
this.
It's all good.
Any final words you want to say to?
No,
viewers?
I'm happy that you guys thought of me. To come on this show. Your guys' production here is amazing, and
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
I just I love local things. I love everything Spokane, and you guys are really kind of putting that out there.
We really try to. Being in the business to support small businesses can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're trying to do is overall just make a positive impact. If you have something to share, we want to hear it. We want to let our viewers know, because overall Spokane has always had that small city vibe.
Yeah, and I think it always will. And
I hope so. I don't want it to become the next Seattle.
It won't. So thank you so much. Come to Chowderhead. Come have a sandwich. Come have a beer. Come have a soup. Come check us out.
Yes, sir. And thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for joining in. Have a wonderful day.
Hi, this is Larry Myers, normally at River Ridge Hardware, here at Peters Hardware, where I've been blessed to be able to buy it. Initially started in 1934 by Bill Peters, and I was blessed to be able to purchase that from the Peters family. Peters Hardware is located at 12118 East Sprague, enter off of Pines and First. We have all the quality home products that you need, including quality paint now, where we can match any color that you want. We're here for you for all your home needs. Come on by to Peters Hardware in Spokane Valley.
Are you looking for something generational, timeless, with historical truth? Then We the People Interactive Calendar is right for you, designed for the generations. With over hundreds of historical dates and funny cartoons, We the People Calendar makes the perfect conversation starter about America's history, what the founders intended, and why it's important today. Our mission is to expand conversations as we all learn together in our pursuit of truths. Let us add to the legacy of our ancestors. To get started, Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen and begin your conversation today.
Starting a digging project? Before you reach for the shovel, you must click callbeforeyoudig.org, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. Protect our buried utilities and click callbeforeyoudig.org.
The world has changed a lot in 50 years, and Kimley Haygood has changed with it. We still provide our customers with the highest level of service, whether it's financing, construction management, property management and maintenance, leasing, or sales. Our team is here to help you make the best decisions with your real estate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pulse of Spokane. Today, I'm with Jessica from Sweet Frostings. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And can you just get into what is Sweet Frostings?
Well, Sweet Frostings is a specialty bakery. We specialize in cakes, cupcakes, dessert bars, all the things, weddings, events. We do planning and all the things for you.
Oh, well, perfect. Sounds great. And you actually won quite a few awards recently, too, right?
Did.
You want to elaborate on what those are? And
Yeah, well, you have a magazine that's Spokane Coeur d'Alene
Yes.
Living, the Women in Business Leadership Award, and then I also won the SBA Young Entrepreneur of the Year
congratulations on
Award.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a great couple months.
Yeah, I would say so. Just that hard work, it has been paying off now, and you're one of the leading women entrepreneurs here in town. So congratulations on all of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really cool to see the people who won. They're like, financial advisors and all these people who are just so amazing.
Such an integral part of the team that runs a business.
Right. Yeah. A lot.
And you guys actually started here in Spokane, right?
We did, yeah. We opened up in Spokane in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and I and just a couple other people. So we started with like 4, and now we're at like 40.
Wow, that is incredible. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
And what would you say is the most important part about running a small business? Is it one answer, or is it multiple answers? Is it people? Is it organization? What is it?
It's multiple answers, like you can't, a business isn't just one thing. It's so many things. You have to be, marketing, you have to be good at customer service, you have to provide a solution to a problem. You have to be all of these things at once, and they have to work together and communicate together, and it's a lot of moving parts, but it's fun. It's a fun challenge that I get to solve every day.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And could I ask, if you know the answer, why your mother started Sweet Frostings itself?
Yeah, she would take me, a little 13, 14-year-old, with her on business trips. She worked in a bakery for 30-some years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she started when she was about, 16, 17 in bakery, grocery store, just working in it. She worked her way up. She was a cake decorator and ended up being a salesperson for some of the major companies, milling companies in the country. So she sold mixes and supplies to grocery stores where she started at. So she ended up selling the product that they made, and she would show them how to use it, and she would, teach them, the do's and don'ts of everything. And she realized that people were only buying the cheapest product out there, not the best product.
Not the
out
highest
there.
quality product.
Yeah, there was a lot of product that had things that were not necessarily edible. Some things that might be illegal in other countries because they're in the same ingredients as like defrost chemicals. Yeah, so that's what you find at the grocery store, and that's why our product is so different. People can taste it. They can tell there's something different.
You can smell it when you come right into the to the sweet
bakery,
frostings.
yeah.
The bakery. That's the word. And it
That
just
is a-
smells so sweet. Like compared to a Rosar's bakery, which is still fresh. But
Yes.
you guys just best bakery smell in town. Congratulations. by the
Thank
way.
you. Yeah, and nothing against grocery stores. I go to grocery stores. It's not like I don't. But there's just certain products that they buy and use that we decidedly don't, and we like to say that we make like your grandma used to. We bake with some of my grandma's recipes even, and all of that includes real butter, real cream. We're not using alternatives unless vegan products. We do use alternatives, but essentially we just use the best.
You use the highest quality so that you can give that to the consumers, and the consumers are satisfied with that, and they're actually eating something that's not dangerous.
Exactly. and those products are much more expensive, and that's why groceries don't go that route. They're selling, they're trying to sell it at the lowest cost, the highest volume, and a lot of it has to be shelf stable. And while our buttercreams can be considered shelf stable, they are made with butter and cream and don't stay good for months or even weeks on end. Where
you have to use it or else it will.
Yes, and we bake fresh every single day.
That's wonderful.
You have a fresh product when you buy it from us. It doesn't live more than 48 hours, whereas if you go to other places, they'll have it for 3, 4, 5 weeks. They'll have it for a very long time. But there's chemicals in there that keep it from going bad.
Yeah, the artificial chemicals.
Exactly. The antifreeze and all that that's in there.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as with any commodity selling shop or business, the pandemic really hit you guys hard.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, you couldn't avoid it, really.
Any business. I mean, any sector other than probably Uber Eats and some of those other third-party vendors, you guys took a hit.
Yeah, we went back to starting. We really had to reinvent our business. Essentially, we were running for about 9 years when it hit, and so once it hit, we were full production. We were just getting built up to get into wedding season, and it affected a lot of people in events. So my husband works in events as well, and bars, restaurants, things like that. So when that happened right before the big season, you're fully staffed, you're fully equipped, you got all this stuff ready, and then shut it all down.
Yeah.
And my mom and I really had to look at each other and decide what are we gonna do. There's so much question mark in the air of what are our options right now, what's safe. My mom is in her 60s, and I was concerned for her safety as well, with the pandemic. And so, we butted heads. We didn't agree on what to do. And I'm glad she won that fight in the end, because I was so scared. And acting on fear, I don't think is ever really a good decision.
No, acting on emotions, because you got to separate logic from emotions, especially in the business world. Too.
Yes, exactly. And thank God for my mother. I don't know what I would do without her. But yeah, she was like, you know what, you can go home. I'm staying. So we were in it together at that point. Each department had one person working, and we made it work. We waited for orders to come in or to not come in, and we took.
Was the public pretty receiving in or stepping up to help Sweet Frosting survive?
Spokane has a great community of people who want to support small business, and you also want to support others as well. We have people who, essentially we were like, who wants to work, who wants to stay, and who wants to go home, because essentially there's a lot of different opinions and comfortability working around people, and we have a big area, so people could be 6 feet apart. And, we're a small business, and we had to make kind of a decision, are we essential as a company? How can we be essential as a company? And those were kind of those big questions that we had to ask. And part of that was making bread. We went to the grocery store, and there was no bread on the shelves. So we decided to start making bread. We got the butter, we got the milk, we got the flour. Let's make bread. So
And was that a successful commodity?
it was. People were excited to have a reason to come in, even if they weren't necessarily wanting to buy cupcakes at the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't find bread at the grocery store. And then we also started a pay it forward program where people could buy a loaf of bread for someone else.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so we reached out to some families who, they may have been getting a couple meals a day at school who were no longer, and now they have all these kids at home and no job and all these things going on. So we did a pay it forward program. We had a couple people come in who heard about it and were, I've got all my kids with me. Can I get a loaf of bread? And we're like, yeah, we've got 4 paid forward. How many do you want? Just kind of offering that to other people was really.
And you're helping the community, which
it
is
was
fantastic.
Really rewarding. It was really fun to do.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And now today, you guys have survived the pandemic, and obviously you've learned some lessons from that. Moving forward, where do you see this company going?
I mean, we've survived. My goal is to thrive. You know what I mean?
Right.
Most people have survived, and we're still dealing, and we're gonna be for the next 5, maybe even 10 years of cost of goods, and that has many factors, not just the pandemic. But butter, for example, in the last couple months has gone up 60% cost-wise.
Yeah, inflation.
And everything that we make includes butter. And then wages, we're in a crisis. This is almost as big as the pandemic of lack of employees. That's cross industries. That's not just us. But that's, all sorts of things. When the trucking companies can't find people, our cost of goods
Your
goes up
supplies
more.
cannot get delivered, and then at the same time, if gas is going up, then they're going to charge more, and it's just everything's connected.
Yes, exactly. So because of all those factors, because of the growing season, because of the trucking, because of the gas, it all makes everything go up so much. And as a bakery, we already are a small margin industry.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of bakeries, a lot of restaurants, a lot of food in general, it's going up, and we all can tell. But this is just really the beginning, because all of our people that we buy from are telling us, you should probably adjust your prices weekly, because things are all over the place. And as a product that's not a necessity, essentially,
Yeah.
it's tough to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to change our prices every week. So really we have to watch our costs of goods and our labor, and we have to watch all of this much more meticulously than we ever had to in the past.
Previously, just because of the economy, the way it's going.
Yeah.
And hopefully, though, it starts to stabilize within the year or the next couple of years, and then you guys are able to take off and, and thrive in this.
Yeah, and that's, we have the business. It's keeping up with, like I said, the cost of goods, the hiring. By the way, Sweet Frostings is hiring. We're looking for very talented cake decorators, bakers, salespeople, people who enjoy specialty baked goods and have a passion for it. So I'm going to get my plug in there. For employees, I have an amazing management team who are just so fun to work with. We have music nights as a team. We've been really working on some fun team bonding stuff. So
well, I'm glad you guys have that's in management there, so that when you guys get on board with new employees and start growing, the clock can keep turning, and you guys can keep expanding, or whatever your goals are for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Final thoughts. Do you have anything or any advice for young entrepreneurs out there who are wanting to start their own business, especially young girls?
Yeah, I mean, confidence, so important. Not every girl growing up has a lot of confidence. I know I didn't have a ton, but just being okay with making a wrong decision is the first step to making a decision. You can't be afraid of failing, because you're gonna, no matter what, there's gonna be wrong decisions.
Failure's a part of life.
It is, and you learn so much more from failing than you do from succeeding. We always say it's a day of learning, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, just having confidence in yourself, and it's a mountain and a roller coaster. You're gonna go up and you're gonna go down, and it's not gonna always be linear success. So
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Pulse of Spokane.
Yeah.
We were so excited to do this again, just because you won all these awards, and at the same time, your success is the community's success.
well, thank you. Yeah,
course.
I appreciate you guys coming down and doing this with me. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. We appreciate it too. And thank you for joining in. Have a great day.
We are slowly coming out of a great uncertainty. How long can we sustain government spending? And how has government increased regulation affected the free market? Join ABC, Spokane Home Builders, and Star Financial. Host a breakfast panel, State of the Free Market. 3 Washington Policy Center experts to share the most accurate accounting of what is happening with the free market in Washington State. Get your tickets today. SpokaneFreeMarket.com. Paid for by Spokane GOP.
Interdisciplinary education that gets real about the real world, that's the new think. It isn't a tagline, it's a philosophy wrapped in red and white. It is Eastern Washington and you.
This is River Ridge Frame Shop, called Frame It Today, where we can take your art, customize it, and get it ready to hang on the wall. Here at River Ridge Hardware, 2803 West Garland.
Thank you guys so much for joining the Pulse of Spokane. Join us every Friday for a new edition of it. Until then, have a great weekend.